find it, let me know. Okay, that's all right. Hey, that's the spiritual demon Satan, man, because he don't want this thing to build up too. Go ahead.
Verse 26.
See, the temple's being built right now. We're builders. Most High is using us to be the builders by building back Israel, by teaching. These are the bricks right here. The bricks is this word, and the bricks is also us. So we being built lively stones. Go ahead.
Okay, it says Cyrus was praised in the Tanakh, Isaiah 45, 1-6, and Ezra 1, 1-11, for the freeing of slaves, humanitarian equality, and costly reparations he makes. And that's talking about our people. However, he was being criticized for believing the false report of the Cushites who wanted to halt the rebuilding of the temple. They accused the Jews of conspiring to rebel, so the king of Persia in turn stopped the construction of the temple, which would not be completed until 516 BC, during the reign of Darius the Great.
Okay, that's a good point. Okay, what we got now? Go ahead.
Daniel chapter 9, verse 26. And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood.
Right, the end thereof shall be with a flood is talking about when the Romans took down Jerusalem. Because there was a point where we had a good relationship with the Caesars. Now, that point where that contract or that agreement was broken off, and they became enemies of us because we were paying taxes and so forth. So they said, okay, you can keep the high holy days, you can keep your temples up, we're not going to destroy you as long as you pay tribute. So that really started during the time of, matter of fact, go to, what you got? All right, go ahead.
John chapter 11, verse 47. Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council and said, what do we, for this man doeth many miracles? If we let him alone, if we thus let him alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation.
Yeah, because we had a covenant with them. Now go to Acts 18 chapter in the first verse. And there's something, I don't know what name it's under, but it tells you, I don't know if that was under Claudius. It was under Claudius. Because I was reading it last night, and it tells you how the Christians were pushed out along with the Jews, which really is the same thing. Yeah, see if you can find that. It should be under Claudius. He was saying there was a point where he pushed the Jews out. I don't know if it's under him. Okay, read that. But that's one point, and there's another point to it. Go ahead.
This is the book of Harper's Bible Dictionary. Under Claudius. It says 10 BC to AD 54. The fourth Roman emperor, he assumed power following Gaius Caligula's assassination AD 41. His weak constitution and ill health contributed to the emergence of rich and powerful freedmen. Though generally conciliatory toward the Jews, he expelled some from Rome because of rioting. Acts 18:3.
And there's another part in that book, I don't know if it's under Claudius or Nero, when they pushed the Jews out as a whole, along with the Christians. All right, go ahead, read.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 18, verse 1. It says, this is our book of Acts, chapter 18, verse 1. After these things, Paul departed from Athens and came to Corinth, and found a certain Jew named Aquila, born in Pontus, lately come from Italy, with his wife Priscilla, because that Claudius had commanded all Jews to depart from Rome, and came unto them. And that's why I said that this particular Jew, which is Aquila, it says he was born in Pontus, lately come from Italy. And the reason why he had lately come from Italy was because Claudius had expelled the Jews out of Rome. To let you know that there were Jews that were in Rome, and you also had Israelite foreigners that were in Rome that Paul was writing letters to also. That's why it said that the people, the Romans that Paul wrote the letter to, he said that they were called to be saints. The only saints are Israelites. All right? So what happened was Claudius he basically kicked the Jews out of Rome because of the rioting that was going on. Because this word is vicious, man. This word ain't. Let's show you that them panty wearing Catholic priests, they're not men of the Lord, because they all sit there all gingerly and talking all soft spoken and all that. That's not that ain't gonna cause no riot.
Okay, I just found it. That's right there. I think the key point is there, but you can start up there. Okay. All right. So this is history to back up what the scriptures is saying in Acts, the 18th chapter. Go ahead.
This is under the name Rome. Jews and Christians in Rome. While Roman power was making itself felt in the Mediterranean world already at the time of the latter writings of the Old Testament, e.g. Daniel and the Apocrypha, e.g. 1st and 2nd Maccabees, it did not dominate the world then as it did during the time the New Testament was being written. Because Rome was a principal city of the empire, it was inevitable that both Christians and Jews should eventually be attracted to it. It is difficult to know.
Now, the writer of this book, they're saying Christians and Jews like they're different. All right, like Christians were other nations that believed in Christ, and then you had the Jews. And when you read this document, you're going to see that the Jews and the Christians were the same people. Just the Christians believed that the Messiah came at that time. But you had other Israelites that said, no, we ain't going to accept him as being the Messiah. Go ahead.
This is Acts chapter 11, verse 26. And when he had found him, he brought him to Antioch. And it came to pass that a whole year they assembled themselves with the church and taught much people. And the disciples were called Christians first in Antioch.
Yeah, which the disciples were what? They were Jews. All right? Go ahead.
It is difficult to know when the first Jews located in Rome, although their presence in other major cities of the Mediterranean world would make it likely they were present for a length of time before the Christian movement reached the city. We also have no information about when the Christian faith arrived in Rome. By the time Paul wrote his letter to the Christians, the mid-1st century A.D., it had already become an important church, Romans 1 and 8. Perhaps the presence of a Jewish settlement in...
Yeah, that's why you have the book of Romans, because you had Israelites living up there in Rome that Paul was teaching. Go ahead.
Perhaps the presence of a Jewish settlement in Rome was a point of entry for Jewish Christians coming there. About the year AD 49, the Emperor Claudius issued an edict expelling Jews from Rome. The fact that Christians as well were expelled, see Acts 18 and 2, indicates that at that time, Roman officials did not differentiate between Christians and Jews.
Why didn't they differentiate between Christians and Jews? Because they were the same thing. They were the same people. But you get these scholars, like you had a couple of Romans, they became Christians, and you had a couple of Greeks became Christians and some Africans. So you had a bunch of mixed nuts. So they said, get rid of the Christians. Okay, that Roman, he's trying to hide. He's a Christian. Nah, that Edomite, he's a Christian. No, they were all Jews. That's why the writer said what he said. Read that again.
It says, about the year AD 49, the Emperor Claudius issued an edict expelling Jews from Rome. The fact that Christians were expelled, see Acts 18 and 2, indicates that at the time, Roman officials did not differentiate between Christians and Jews.
Because they were the same. They were all Jews. Go ahead. So even Esau give you the truth, but he don't even understand what he's writing. Go ahead.
That was, you know.
Is there any?
Let me see if I'll read a little.
Go ahead.
Perhaps because the Christians' community was not large enough to be significant some 15 years later. However, they were numerous enough to attract the blame from Nero for a fire that devastated Rome AD 64. There is an early tradition that puts the martyrdom of both Paul and Peter in Rome about this time. While we have a record of Paul's arrival and 2 years stay in Rome, there is no mention in the New Testament of when Peter got there or how long he remained. The Christian community in Rome continued to exercise influence on other churches that is shown by the likelihood that 1 Peter and Hebrews originated there. First Clement, a letter from Rome, sometimes in the early 2nd century, shows how the interest continued in the instance interest in the church of Corinth in Corinth. See also Augustus, Jupiter, Austria, Roman Empire.
Yeah, cause this was such a big movement, man. Christianity, the Jews waking up to the Lord, that they said, man, we gotta start killing. We gotta start setting fires and blaming it on the Christians. We gotta kick them out of Rome. So we're in that same thing. So this is history repeating itself, man. Because you got camps all over right now, and those elite, don't think that they don't notice. Those are the elites. They know what the hell's going on. They see how these prophecies are coming to pass. Here you got a simple ass nigga come up. We're trying to tell him that he's an Israelite. No, brother, I'm a Muslim, brother. If you mix it, that's why nowadays we don't. You know what, man? Just keep walking down the street. Then when you tell a clown to keep walking down the street, all of a sudden the nigga wants to stay. It's amazing, man. All right, go ahead.
Daniel chapter 9, verse 26. And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off.
Yeah, the Messiah was crucified. Go ahead.
But not for himself.
Yeah, because he was crucified for the nation of Israel. Go ahead.
And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood.
That flood came in the form of the Roman armies through Vespasian, Titus, and Domitian. All right. Now, what I'd like you to do is go back to Vespasian in this book right here. So we're gonna have to go. We're gonna have to deal with Vespasian. We're gonna have to deal with Titus. Well, Titus was the key guy. Go ahead.
Vespasian, a Roman general who began the siege of Jerusalem in the first Jewish.
So this was the end of the 70 weeks in Daniel the 9th chapter. Go ahead. But like I said, if we was to really go deep into this, man, we'd be doing this for the next 3 months. So it's up to you to do your studies and to learn this history, all right? The key people that you got to study on is during the time of Israel coming out of Babylon, during the time of Cyrus, during the time of the 3 Darius. Go ahead.
It says, Vespasian, a Roman general who began the siege of Jerusalem in the first Jewish war of rebellion against Rome, AD 66 through 70. In the midst of the siege, he was named Roman emperor, and he ruled from 69 to 79. His son Titus, who took over the siege in Jerusalem and pursued it to its conclusion, also succeeded him as emperor 79 through 81. See also Titus.
Now go to Titus. Now the Lord, before he was crucified, was telling the people that when you, matter of fact, go to that too. Matthew's the 24th chapter. Go ahead.
Matthew chapter 24, verse 15.
Yeah, because you got guys in the church reading that, and they'll just read it. And then they'll read right past it. And then if you ask them, like we asked Raymond on Fordham Road, I said, what does that mean, Raymond? What does that mean? And he didn't understand. He didn't know what it meant. Go ahead. Say, what's your name? What's your name, first of all? My name is Raymond. What's your name? All right? Now, one of the brothers, Yohannabar, ran into him and talked to him. And then he said, I'm one of them Israelites. So they, shook hands and they talked and everything, Because Raymond saw that we were right. Because you got them people in the churches, they'll read a scripture and they'll just read right through it and won't give you the understanding of what it meant. They'll say it's talking about now. See, the Antichrist. It might be Barack Obama. He's going to enter into Jerusalem. When he goes into that temple, no, that's not the fulfillment. The fulfillment already took place. Go ahead, brother.
All right, this is Matthew chapter 24, verse 15. When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand.
That's why the Lord said, whoso readeth, let him understand. Because if you don't understand it, you ain't got no business reading it. Read that again.
When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand.
Yeah, now I don't know if you can find it, but I had an article there where it says how he actually entered. I guess if you go to Wikipedia, if you go back to Wikipedia, or you go to my favorites and speak for a minute.
Right. So that's basically what it is. It's basically a historical account. The book of Daniel is a ninth chapter.